You're live.
Hey everyone, good morning. My name is Steve Poikinen. Is Andrew Smith joining me right here. We are freaking tired,
And cold.
and Andrew's cold. Um, you wouldn't think that Andrew is a much softer man than me, but you know, outward
Wait, aren't you
appearance.
from Ohio?
Yeah, the
It's
guy from
cold.
Ohio's cold. The guy who's California soft is like, no, it's not bad. Maybe I'm too tired to have the reality of the cold sink in, especially when something like a coffee maker is waiting for me outside and down the road. Um,
I knew you were gonna say something like that.
but basically, what we've discovered this morning is that Andrew's a girl, just a whiny, crying, upset, hairy, furry girl.
And pretty. I'm a pretty girl.
Anywho, good morning, everyone. We are about 10 to 20 minutes away from court. I think it's at the Old Bailey. Is it the Old Bailey? Pretty sure it's at the Old Bailey. Julian Assange's bail hearing takes place today.
I'm checking the threads, see what everybody's saying.
If you want to recap a little bit, Monday was ridiculously emotional. We I don't know what we were expecting to hear from that judge. What we weren't expecting to hear was, I agree with all of the bullshit arguments the U.S. prosecution put forth regarding the Espionage Act and computer intrusion charges. However, not going to send Julian Assange to the U.S. to face special administrative measures in a carceral system that is ridiculously substandard. So no extradition. And we were like, what the fuck?
It was the best, worst news I probably could have received at 6 o'clock in the morning.
It's the only way that the empire could structure not extraditing Julian Assange while leaving the door open for future prosecutions for any journalist at all remotely either related to WikiLeaks or any national security reporter who hasn't been illegally and arbitrarily detained for a decade, who isn't already a current victim of torture, and who may have been in a bigger shithole than a U.S. prison. Like, there's so much wiggle room. So much. What's Mary got to say?
Mary and Taylor both confirm that they're viewing the courtroom right now, but there's really no one present in it. Mary describes this one as a more modern courtroom.
Is he going to be in a fucking glass box?
Right, that's what... that would be the shit right there, right? Like, if they're like, oh, okay, well, now that it's a bail hearing, I guess we don't need to put them in the goldfish bowl. Oh my god, I actually got notifications.
I did not.
I got a notification that Slow News Day is live. I never get a notification for that. And I got a notification that we're live on the MCSC network. I did not get an Action for Assange notification. By the way, big shout out to Nico House and the MCSC network for allowing us to stream on their platform since at least September, right? Yeah, since we were here.
September.
Yeah, it was since we were here last time, covering the witness testimony portion of the extradition hearing of Julian Assange. And it was great. It was great meeting all those guys in real life over the last several days.
It's one of those things where you just feel like you've known them forever.
It's a little weird. It is like because we've spent a good amount of hours on camera with each other, like on the phone with each other and stuff like that, but not until somebody is right up in your face, or in Pasta's case, like right up in your beard. Little short. Not much, but a little shorter. First thing Pasta said to me, "God damn it, why are you tall?" I'm like, "I'm not tall." Like, you're taller than I thought you were.
I'm bigger than all y'all.
He thought Andrew was a fucking hobbit. Like, he had a whole list of like, it comes in pints jokes prepared, but
Which I still enjoy.
I gotta meet Pasta in person. I bet you I'm like a foot taller than him.
I mean,
Pasta's taller than me. Yeah.
Pasta's about he's like an inch shorter than me, and I'm like at best 5'10" in boots.
All right, that's not too bad.
No, I'm not like a midget or anything. It's
No, I've seen you in person.
Yeah.
You're not tiny. Everyone's shorter than me though, so pretty much, except a couple people, except Davidson.
Now, correct?
I don't know.
Yeah, connected via remote video link with other journos. Yeah. Yeah, so we have a couple new friends of the show actually with cloud video platform access this time around. And they had it too. I just want to give them a shout out because they were going through the tweets live or going through the court case live on Monday, putting it out in tweets. And that's Taylor, our friend, co-founder of Action for Assange, as well as Richard Medhurst.
I don't know if we get okay. So Taylor, we love you, but we're not going to refer to you as the co-founder of Action for Assange anymore until you fucking
come back,
show up once, asshole.
So it looks like they're still waiting to view the courtroom, from what everybody's saying. There's really nothing new that's come out.
Oh, and shout out to ABB. They're streaming.
Yeah,
stuff
Anonymous
too.
Bites backed up online right now.
And they were on Monday as well.
Camera is on the glass box at the back of the court.
Of course, there's a fucking glass box.
In his fucking bail hearing, they're using a glass box.
Christ. These people make me cranky.
Who else should I pull up?
Costola.
Yeah. I'm getting there. Do we know if Mo's in court?
He was outside the court last I saw.
Yeah.
But that was an hour ago, so.
So, okay, so this is what, the third bail hearing this year, or I guess in the last year?
It's either the second or the third.
Because there was, well, they applied for bail at the beginning of lockdown. And that's when the British court was like, oh no, we can't release him. We haven't charged him with anything yet. You know, that just fantastic excuse to keep someone locked up in a
this is the second bail hearing in 2 months.
Virus riddled prison. You know, yeah, and then because it was denied. The request was denied ahead of the September hearing because they tried it again. And now there's an actual bail hearing, but in the decision, the extradition decision, one of the last sentences in it is an order of release for Julian Assange. Now I don't know what that means, really. I don't know what the Brits are going to consider. Okay, I try to keep up with the chat here too. being from Ohio is better than being in Ohio. I felt that way about Indiana. That's why I got the fuck out of there when I was like 18 years old in a day, and had been leaving multiple times before that. They call it the crossroads of America, Indiana, because you're supposed to keep going. You're not supposed to stop.
People who build glass boxes should not throw stones from the Salt Laker.
Okay, clever.
I like it. If you guys have any questions while we're waiting for court to kick off, please toss those questions in the chat from whatever chat you're watching from, A4A, Slow News Day, MCSC, what have you. I've been scrolling through, just seeing if I can pick out any questions. Yeah, like Steve said earlier, just while we're waiting here, I'm going to recap. No extradition came through. It's not the best no extradition. We're going to have to literally mobilize even harder to defend free press because the British government agreed with the U.S. government and said, yeah, no, the First Amendment doesn't exist in national security cases, basically, amongst other things, other horrible things. But we're actually going to, I don't know if it's going to be Saturday or Tuesday, but we're going to go through the actual judge's orders to see exactly what she said is good, because she said Kronberg's the Bible. So that disgusting, almost 400-page document that is written to sound like propaganda somehow enabled her to include a debunked 2019 CNN article about Julian's situation and about the spying in the embassy. She went as far, Judge Vanessa Breitzer went as far as to say that the spying by UC Global and the CIA was like, no, that's fine. Like, you can just put bugs in every room of the house. You can do whatever you want. And, not a big deal. So that's in UK legal precedent now. So that's really exciting. If you're in the United Kingdom.
It's not a legal precedent, though.
No?
It's not. No, because there wasn't a ruling or a decision on the legality. It's just her saying,
okay,
well, there's a CNN article that I read that put forth a very convincing argument for taking away the legal and civil rights of another human being. If you're trying to really get some information out of them, then it's okay to spy on their meetings with their attorneys, but only if they have previously published classified information. Like it's not like it's not like a case was brought before a district judge challenging the legality of this, the spying from UC Global or anything, or any case of that nature. So it's not case law. It's not precedent. It's just a line item in a denial of extradition order.
Okay.
But it can be looked at as, well, this judge did agree with this, so technically we can try to charge another person
with the same crap.
Or we can, the U.S. can rescind an extradition order, and the same case can be opened up against him in Australia or the UK or Sweden or any other country that has run afoul of WikiLeaks over the last 14 years.
So it looks like Rebecca Vincent was having some trouble from Reporters Without Borders actually getting into court. I haven't read the full thread yet.
She got in. I believe they gave her the family gave her a spot.
Yep. She said, I am on my way to court. I escaped the hellish queue for the public gallery today only because Assange's family have been kind enough to put me on their list. So unless the court pulls something funny, I should be in without any problems. Later, she continued, in our view, it would be extremely harsh to keep Assange detained when the judge has explicitly outlined his serious mental health issues, which would be exacerbated with prolonged detention. If this is grounds to deny extradition, it's grounds for immediate release.
Yep.
Amen. She continued.
Oh, real quick. I've seen in my chat a couple of people who just stumbled across this here channel because because we were walking around with our good friend Jason Burmis last night. We will, but I just saw, God damn it, where'd that go? Where'd it go? I just saw it. Okay, so yeah, I'm Country Girl Tawana. Thank you for being here. There's another one, Zachariah. Get some sleep. I tried. I did. Yes, it is a big day today. We're up early because Julian Assange's bail hearing is about to begin, and we are going to cover that. And I'm going to try and get like maybe another hour of sleep, and then we're going to be over by the Ellipse,
Got a question. for you.
the Lincoln Memorial, Washington Monument, right? That's the
Yeah.
the Washington side deal is the Ellipse, not the Lincoln Memorial
Between
side.
the monument and the White House, basically.
Yeah.
Or Washington Monument.
I think so.
But so we have a question from the MCSC network chat. Do you honestly think that Americans will pursue, considering that the charges of the U.S. government, the change in the U.S. government happening in 2 weeks?
It's okay.
They are holding the bail hearing at the Old Bailey.
Okay. I think that the Biden Harris administration is going to escalate the attacks on press freedom in a way that we've never seen before. You guys got to remember, like, it's not really about who is president. Continuity of government is what's important, and the overarching themes that or the overarching policies that these systems want to put into place, those don't change. Like, there might be figureheads that tweak them a little bit, you know. So we might see Biden and Harris relax the US's position on WikiLeaks, but go after somebody else, or a series of somebody else. This is all about keeping the base and keeping the American public.
Assange just entered the dock.
Okay, thinking that it is just thinking that there's like still a realistic solution in electoral politics. So Biden and Harris will probably be more likely to go after quote unquote right wing domestic journalists rather than foreign ones. Julian Assange has entered the dock.
Mary said we're hearing objections to bail first, but I don't know if anyone has started yet.
Mega Brain, is Mega Brain in the building?
Ooh, let's see if Mega Brain's in the building. Taylor has not put another post out.
I'm gonna go check Kevin Gistola.
Oh, we got a couple. Claire Dobbins arguing Assange will go to great lengths to avoid extradition. I now lost audio. Oh, it's the B team woman. Can I tell the story?
I don't know.
Can I tell this story real quick?
I don't know.
Let me see that, Megan.
Hang on, man. I'm looking at So Kevin Gistola about a minute ago says, by Judge Vanessa Breitzer's own reasoning in the decision, Assange should be freed on bail in order to prevent suicide. It is a direct quote from the release order. In order to avoid suicide watch or increased isolation at HMP Belmar, she has already adopted a strategy of disguising his suicidal thoughts. Direct quote. So yes, absolutely, by this judge's own logic in her ruling, she has no choice but to release him on bail. But yeah, Okay, go ahead and talk about fucking
Yes.
the B team. There better be fucking coffee.
There is. So while we wait for court to develop a little bit more here, if you guys remember back to the first week of the second round of the trial, it was Thursday. That was the day that James Lewis, QC prosecutor for the U.S., woke up in the wrong apartment, didn't have his laptop charger, his phone was dead. He was probably doing cocaine and passed out at someone else's house. I've never woken up in the wrong house before. I don't know about you, but that just doesn't happen. So after Lewis calls in, right, he says, my laptop's going to die. All my official papers are they're at court. My laptop charger's at court. Tunes in on another device. He's having technical issues connecting on there. The judge still tries to proceed with court. Vanessa berates her. And then Claire, my husband faked sick for the day Dobbins, calls in and says, my husband may or may not have symptoms that could or couldn't be coronavirus, and court gets shut down. It was not even the first delay in court. They had major tech issues like Taylor's having now, where witnesses weren't connecting, where the cloud video platform with the journalists couldn't hear. Long story short, Claire Dobbins faked sick with coronavirus. Her husband faked sick with coronavirus. So that way QC Lewis could have cover for waking up in the wrong person's house. So my husband faked sick for the day Dobbins is the one that they have arguing in court. So this should be interesting because any argument she's put forth in court literally got laughed at. It was painful in a good way. But let me check to see where we're at. And I'm checking to see if Taylor got her access back, or not access, her sound. The U.S. government is arguing Assange is a flight risk. Julian Assange, and references Assange helping Snowden seek refuge, which did get introduced into the new superseding indictment that was released before the second round of Julian's hearings.
All right, go look at Medhurst stuff.
I am. I'm flipping through. I got all of them pulled up.
Prosecution said something. The prosecution is arguing that the court cannot grant bail to someone who cannot be trusted to surrender.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, prosecution says Assange has shown himself as someone who has gone to extraordinary lengths to avoid extradition. I'm assuming would be that word. And now we can't hear anything because the UK's infamous modern court system infrastructure of 2021 refused to function properly. Audio is back. Prosecution. Court cannot grant bail to someone who can't be trusted to surrender. The prosecution references the judgment talking about Snowden being in Hong Kong. The U.S. issued an arrest warrant on the charges of theft of information from the U.S. government, etc. Alleges that Assange and WikiLeaks encouraged leakers to steal information and openly tried to help Snowden evade arrest. So the part that they're referencing here about helping leakers, that is incorrect. There's actually a part that in the indictments against Julian that refers to the WikiLeaks most wanted list. That list was available for edit on a public wiki page. It wasn't something that the WikiLeaks team curated. It was something that the people that wanted to see information get leaked because they were victims of the corruption or viewers of the corruption inside of that system wanted to see leaked. So just more things, like literally just more shit that was already debunked back in September.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to pull up chat and stuff like that.
Babbling. I didn't want to babble too long.
Yeah, Julian did help Snowden get his asylum. That has abso-fucking-lutely nothing to do. Ed Snowden's case has nothing to do with Julian Assange, quote, going to extreme measures, unquote, to avoid extradition. The man sought asylum as a politically persecuted individual, was granted that asylum, and then 11 days later, a warrant was issued for his arrest on supposedly skipping bail. that was the one little shred of not exactly legal maneuvering that they were able to use as pretense to go drag him out of the embassy April 11th, 2019, after the U.S. had leaned on puppet President Lenin Moreno long enough to get him to strip his citizenship without due process.
So this was about 11 minutes ago, I think. 17 minutes ago. Rebecca Vincent said, I'm still having trouble at court entrance. I'm not sure I will be allowed in, even on Assange's family's list.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is crazy. What is Mary Costakita saying? She confirms that everyone viewing had lost sound. Prosecution giving details of the assistance and alternative plans contemplated for Snowden by WikiLeaks, claiming that Julian Assange has resources, know-how, and determination to abscond. He was already granted political asylum by Mexico.
Well, it was offered. Offered, and look, I mean, the president offering asylum goes a long way, but it's not the same thing as the Mexican legal system approving asylum. Although, I mean, yeah, it would be fantastic. I should.
Taylor says the government's grasping at straws to make its case.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Absolutely.
I should announce. Would you fucking hang?
This is literally what we were just talking about.
Okay, well, I'm fucking announcing something, and if it's what we were just talking about, then we already talked about it.
No, it wasn't in context of the court case, because the U.S. government's trying to argue about the Mexican asylum as to why did not give Julian bail. U.S. government cites Mexico offering asylum and says governments that are sympathetic to asylum.
Give Andrew the mic if he's talking.
Taylor said U.S. government cites offering asylum, Mexico offering asylum, and says governments that are sympathetic, some governments are sympathetic to Assange. Seeing if Medhurst has one. What was your thingy though, Steve? I'm sorry.
This Sunday on Slow News Day, we will be joined by the one and only Commander X, who will be appearing as Commander X for possibly the last time ever on an interview. There's a number of things that Commander X would like to get off his chest, and since he missed our Festivus live stream, he's gonna do that this Sunday. So if you you guys are gonna want to tune in for that. You absolutely are. Like, possibly the last interview Commander X is ever going to give. He's gonna explain all of this in detail on Sunday, but this is gonna be a hell of a show, and I definitely think that anyone who's been moved by the work that Anonymous did initially, like for the first several years leading up to, I guess, 2018 when he fled. Definitely gonna want to tune in. Commander X fucking not giving a fuck anymore, and looking to go out with a bang.
So these are some updates a couple seconds ago from Richard Medhurst. The prosecution refers to the previous court ruling allowing Assange bail in 2010 and argues that they were made in Assange's favor. She, referring to Claire, my husband, didn't have coronavirus Dobbins, says she does this in order to assert that even the good faith ruling of Assange's in Assange's favor, that were he to abscond from bail would diminish his character even among his supporters, did not materialize. He didn't. He was already in the embassy. He already had political asylum before he skipped bail. What? Like this whole prosecution, the U.S. literally just makes shit up. Everything. Like if there is an argument that the U.S. prosecution puts forward, it's probably based on a work of fiction from Luke Harding or CNN or some other intelligence agency co-opted media organization or personality. Because they even like with the whole names of informants thing, they didn't even do that honestly as they were going through it. So I'm checking Mary Kostakidis. She says he, referring to Julian, is capable of going to any length, including spending 7 years in an embassy to escape extradition. He did not spend 7 years to escape extradition. He spent 7 years to essentially mitigate the level of torture that the U.S. could place him under. That's not avoiding. Sorry. Detailing his failure to adhere to bail conditions in the Swedish case. The Swedish case that shouldn't have existed, that Swedish case. The Swedish case that when he was in jail, they put metal shavings in his food to grind his teeth down that still haven't been treated to this day. That Swedish case. Do we have any questions in chat or anything?
Not that I can see. Not in this one anyway.
Okay. I'm scrolling back through the threads real quick to see where we're at. Let's hop over to Kevin. Yeah, so we haven't gotten another update, I don't think, from Rebecca Vincent. I'll dig a little deeper here in a second. But as far as it stands now, I don't even think she's in the courtroom. Still having trouble at the court entrance. I am not sure I will be allowed in, even on Assange's family list. That was her last tweet about 30 minutes ago. So they are essentially blocking Reporters Without Borders from going into the courtroom to view the largest press freedom trial in, like human history. So that's super nice of them. So this is over to Kevin Gostola. He gives a little more clarity on the part where they invoked the asylum offer by AMLO. Dobbins invokes Mexican President AMLO's offer of amnesty to argue against bail. She says she is illustrating an example of countries sympathetic to him and how he could enter the embassy of any of those countries to attain asylum. Yes, that's how asylum works.
Right.
When you are being politically persecuted, you can ask for asylum from another country.
Or another country can offer to accept you.
What?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm
You're a radical.
I'm gonna wager that Claire Dobbins and Mega Brain and even Beratzer know that AMLO offering Julian Assange asylum in Mexico is not the same thing as Julian Assange seeking asylum in Mexico. A lot of people offered Julian Assange asylum. A lot of them did. I mean, look, man, Mexico already has a precedent of accepting politically targeted individuals. Rebecca Vincent just now says, I have not been allowed in, nor have two of Assange's actual relatives. Once again, nothing is normal in this case. Proceedings have started to follow journalists who have access to the cloud video platform. She'll do a live video in a second. What the fuck? So that's 3 additional empty seats at the Old Bailey, where again Julian Assange, after winning his extradition case, is still in the fucking fishbowl, the glass box that they had built especially for Julian Assange, a non-violent person, to be placed in. He's in the fucking glass box during the bail hearing. Like, I get that there's no jury for this. I get that there is, but optically, that's just fucking ridiculous, man. Like, the guy has never posed a threat to anyone in that courtroom, at least in terms of physical harm. Just absolutely ridiculous. And trying to make the point that someone who has published classified material is more dangerous than a terrorist. I had something that I don't know. Yeah, Glory. That's Claire Dobbin, junior varsity prosecutor for the British Crown and the U.S. State Department, saying that Julian Assange believes he's above the law. She's saying that about a man who's been on solitary confinement for the last year and a half, who's been denied proper medical treatment, access to his attorneys, has had all of his meetings with his doctors and attorneys and everyone else spied on for like going on 4 years now. That's Claire Dobbin, displaying the kind of compassion one normally finds on the floor at the end of a night of dogfighting.
We got some new stuff out by Medhurst. You want to read through it?
Sure. Friend of the show, Richard Medhurst. This is 4 minutes ago. This is just what I was talking about. Dobbin says Mr. Assange regards himself above the law, and no cost is too great in terms of him avoiding being sent to the United States. Well, we did just find out that he would be forced to fucking kill himself if he encountered the prison conditions in the U.S., Claire. So maybe you should take that into consideration. She cites the Swedish prosecution and cost to taxpayers of him seeking political asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy. We'll get into that in a sec. Prosecution refers to the fact that he was also given a diplomatic passport. UK refused to register him as a diplomat, so that's not really an argument. We can argue the violations against the Geneva Convention, but the UK was definitely going to arrest Assange if he stepped outside, even with a diplomatic passport, and that's the fucking point. You're right, Richie. You are. The cost to taxpayers for Assange going to the Ecuadorian embassy
should have been zero.
Well, Dobbin is trying to make it sound like it's Julian Assange's fault that the British government had to spend $26 million on surveillance of that one building alone. It's disingenuous at best, outright fucking blatantly stupid at worst.
We have a new one here. This is over on Kevin Gastola's thread. This is a quote from Claire. My husband didn't have coronavirus. Dobbins. Mental health is not related to the risk of flight, she says. Dobbins says the court was not swayed in the least bit on the coronavirus in the prison system. Oh, no, so the court wasn't swayed. But when your husband fucking plays sick, you have to delay a trial 2 days.
She forgot all of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the cocaine does. Yeah.
Yes.
But so Kevin continues here. Dobbins says that the court was not swayed in the least bit on COVID in the prison system. Protections of prisoners' health is not for the court, but for the Ministry of Health in England. I'm just glad that they sent in like the second worst lawyer that they had. Like if they would have sent in Johnny Bushley, Joel Smith, probably would have just yelled incoherently at the judge for like 3 minutes and just been like, "Ah," and left. So Claire Dobbins, you know, she's at least speaking. None of her words are making sense. But apparently COVID only affects her and her family artificially and not, you know, when the prison moves 60 people and turns the heat off in Julian's wing, 60 COVID positive cases, and then shuts the heat off in Julian's prison cell to the point that he had to line his window with books so the heat wasn't escaping. 2021 is already crazy.
For real.
Do we have anything from Rebecca Vincent? Not yet. So again, Rebecca Vincent, head of the Reporters Without Borders International, was denied access to the courtroom even though she was put in on Assange's family's personal list. They also locked out 2 of the relatives of Assange, according to Rebecca. So this is jumping over to Mary Kostakidis. This is as of 6 minutes ago, so it's basically getting us caught up on hers. The Claire, my husband didn't have COVID. Dobbins says he should stay in Belmarsh prison where the judgment asserts conditions are not intolerable. 3 COVID infected prisoners have been moved from his section of the jail, so there is no threat to his health. This was an update provided by the prosecution today. Oh, well, isn't that nice? It went from like almost over 60, and now they had 3 left. So I feel bad for the families of the other 57. But apparently there's those 3 that are now moving. That was a joke, by the way. I don't know what happened to those other people. Okay. Breaking. U.S. government lawyers confirmed they will not appeal the judgment at the High Court. Notes.
No. You're reading that wrong. Because I'm looking.
They will be. Sorry. Yeah. I fucking hate dyslexia, man. Breaking. U.S. government lawyers confirmed they will be appealing the judgment at the High Court, and they note that the appeal has already been drafted. Counsel for the U.S. government summarizes the grounds on which they will be appealing Monday's judgment, says that it is impossible for anyone to commit suicide in the conditions Mr. Assange will be held in.
So let's just untangle that web of shit for a moment real quick, because in Baraitser's own ruling, there are Baraitser herself cites 8 instances on which inmates successfully managed to commit suicide while under the exact conditions that Julian Assange would be held in. So Claire Dobbin laying out that the U.S. is going to argue against appeal using a tactic that is disproven immediately in the order to deny extradition. Are you? They're not even trying. Imagine being so confident that you are going to get away with broad daylight choking to death the free press internationally on a street full of witnesses that you don't even bother reading the ruling against extradition before you fucking piece together your appeal. So okay, No Limit 413, but didn't he already get extradited, or should I say, didn't he get bought? So, sorta. I mean, he never got extradited. What happened was for $4.2 billion in an IMF loan initially, and then it ended up being like another like 12 million overall. And that was totally brokered by the US and the UK for the country of Ecuador. Once the US successfully got Lenin Moreno installed as the president, that's why his citizenship was revoked. His Ecuadorian citizenship was revoked without any semblance of due process. But they still have to go through court. They saw so the $4.2 billion payoff for the body of Julian Assange to be removed from the embassy and taken across town to Belmarsh, like that was just to get asylum, or the asylum that he had been granted out of the way, and the citizenship that he had been granted out of the way. That was worth again, because this is a loan. It's an IMF loan. It's not like they gave him a briefcase with $4.2 billion in it. He still had to go through and do all of the austerity on his own people, which is why they took to the streets, which is why they're still in the streets. What we got here? Claire Dobbin says Julian Assange's health was not as severe as laid out by defense experts. Effective mechanisms in the United States for preventing suicide in custodial environment, which is a euphemism for prison. Claire Dobbin continues mentioning that his children and partner should not weigh in, convincing court he won't abscond. Look,
I hate Claire Dobbins.
Yeah, me too.
Fitzgerald.
Liam, and for anyone who's just joining us, we don't have an answer for you as to whether or not Julian Assange has been granted bail yet. They're still going through at the bail hearing. They opened with the prosecution giving arguments that bail should be denied, followed by the defense giving arguments that bail should be granted, and then what is likely going to happen is Bereitzer will call a recess and then come back and open up her laptop and read a predetermined decision.
That's Fitzgerald, defense attorney.
Yeah. Okay, so Edward Fitzgerald, QC, attorney for Julian Assange, says to the judge, you have a written submission. Grounds have changed. Your decision changes everything. His motive to abscond in the context of pursuing due process in this country. He has been detained for 15 months after his bail penalty lapsed. He has been detained since then. Let's see what else we got there. No, Mary, that's it.
That's right. She's typing the next one right now.
Well, god damn it.
Mary has the best worst cliffhanger.
Yep. Glory Jones, Claire is a fucking cunt.
Amen. So this is where Medhurst picks up. This is about the COVID thing that apparently it's only important when it doesn't affect her husband.
Yeah. Let's read. Mary could have written that a little bit better. Medhurst kind of did. Defense makes the case that the judge's ruling changes everything and gives Assange no reason to abscond bail because she ruled in his favor. The ground for extradition has gone. That would be a reason for them to at least attain conditional liberty. They being the prosecution. Oz whistles. I don't think Donald Trump started a civil war, but America's got plenty of guns. It's just most of them are stockpiled
and pointed in the wrong direction.
And almost all of them are being pointed in the wrong direction.
Real quick, Susie put out a tweet that I think is super important. She reminds us that another prisoner in Julian's wing recently did commit suicide in Belmarsh prison.
Yeah,
So
like a month ago.
So that's a massive thing to point out there. The defense, this is going back to Taylor. The defense says that Assange has been detained for 15 months since October 2019 on the basis of the extradition request. In October 2019, the bail sentence expired. He was held on remand for a long period of time. The defense cites that the U.S. prosecutor said that it is unclear whether or not a Biden administration will continue the prosecution. They would. Joe Biden is on the record calling Julian Assange a high-tech terrorist a couple days before his good friend and WWE rival, Mitch McConnell, said the same exact thing in the Senate. So there's that. The Biden administration, absolutely 100%, in my opinion, would continue the prosecution of Julian Assange because there's no evidence otherwise. And because they're terrible human beings that have literally invaded like half of the world for oil. So what do you think? Do you think the Kamala Biden administration?
I think it would be in the best interest of all authoritarian governments to get rid of a free press. I mean, it is. I mean, if we're going to talk about it in terms of an inevitable Biden-Harris administration, and let's cut that shit too. It's Kamala Harris's administration. Joe Biden has fucking instant grits where his brains used to be, and Joey B used to be at least sharp, like not smart, but sharp. And he's just fucking not, man. Look, it was Kamala Harris's presidency as far back as 2018 when the Clinton donors threw a little Hamptons party and they all sort of had their presidential audition and fucking she won. She got to keep the last rose or whatever the fuck it is that satanic pedophiles hand out when they're trying to determine presidential candidates. I don't know if you specifically have to go after Julian Assange at this point. I don't. Look, if the punishment is the process, as Julian has been saying since Chelsea Manning was incarcerated, then the process has worked and the punishment has worked, and the chilling effect that had Julian Assange's illegal removal from the embassy had, and the 630 some days that have ensued since, they've already largely won. Like, we're going to have an entire separate conversation after this about what it really means to be the Fifth Estate and what it really means to be a journalist, not an advocate for a political party or a stenographer for power, but an adversary to those entities. In the last couple of minutes, piggybacking up on Mary Kostakidis's tweets in relation to what Julian's attorney Edward Fitzgerald was saying. He's been detained for 15 months past his bail penalty. He's been detained since then for the purpose of the extradition application. You have discharged him, and he is entitled now to be free. U.S. prosecutor, who is the boss of Kronberg, is ambivalent about pursuing this matter further. questioning how long this should go on for. Julian should at least have his conditional liberty. Conditional liberty being, an ankle monitor or daily check-ins with some sort of probation officer, something like that, case management officer. Given after all these years, a ruling has been made that he should be discharged. Yes, I agree. I do. The court's ruling removes any reason for Mr. Assange to abscond, but rather to stay in this jurisdiction where his rights are being protected. Excellent point, Mary. Well, Ed via Mary. There you go, buddy. Do you have any kind of questions or anything?
Mary has another one. Just one.
So, okay, Oz, I want to make this perfectly clear. Donald Trump hasn't mobilized anyone against anyone. There are opportunists and grifters, just like Donald Trump is an opportunist and grifter. They're in his orbit, just like there are opportunists and grifters in the orbits of every fucking carnival barker and con man in the history of always since ever. The quote unquote civil war that you're talking about, it's a color revolution. It has every single hallmark and characteristic. Well, not just Iran-Contra, but every color revolution the fucking United States has instigated since we started that whole fucking program in the mid 70s. When you go and put on an outfit to go fight somebody else, but only the somebody else that themselves put on an outfit so they could go fight you, that's not a civil war. Especially not when representatives, affiliates, or organizers for both sides I don't know how to explain this, man, because I'm fucking delirious and tired as shit. But everyday Americans aren't gonna go pick up a fucking gun and go shoot their neighbor because their neighbor wanted Joe Biden or Donald Trump. That's not how that's gonna roll out. And Donald Trump calling for an accurate election account, as much as I fucking hate Trump, he should have that. We should be able to audit our election process. We should be able to audit our voting machines.
So a couple more tweets out here by Mary Kostakidis. I believe these are the words of Edward Fitzgerald speaking in court. Due to COVID-19, he has not seen his family since March last year. He has reestablished his physical condition. He needs to reestablish his physical connection with his family. Fitzgerald says some 50% of inmates have had COVID. The judge interrupts him and asks why the discrepancy between the information the prosecution just provided, because the prosecution will fucking lie about absolutely everything, over the 90 people that had COVID. Belmarsh prison confirmed 60 had it, but 90 tested positive. So it is now official in UK court that the COVID-19 test has a 30% false positive rate. I'm going to read this again because this is important from another angle. Over 90 people had COVID. Belmarsh confirmed 60 had it, but 90 tested positive. So how do only 60 people get it if 90 test positive? And then they move those people into Julian Assange's wing and then turn the heat off. The person who had the paperwork had not been allowed into court, apparently. The prosecution stands to read the info from Belmarsh. Late November, there was a rise, sick 24, positive 85, positive prisoners 3. Surely it's immaterial whether they are prisoners or staff. It's actually worse that they're staff, in my opinion, Mary.
Because they see more people.
Yep, because they go around to more people. And another perspective, if you're one of those people that thinks this whole thing is a hoax, I believe it's completely blown out of proportion. But isn't it heinous that they would use that level of propaganda, that they would try to scare this man to the point that they would put 60 COVID positive people in his wing of the prison and then turn the heat off? Right. So from the perspective of this, COVID isn't as bad as it actually is, right? They were just trying to freeze him the fuck out. They know he has a lung condition. He gets bronchitis or a bad flu. They can write it off as COVID like they do with a lot of other people. So there's that. Let me see. You got any questions or anything over there, Steve? While I scroll real quick. Is there any questions in the chat? Ooh, Rebecca Vincent is live outside of Westminster Magistrate Court as we await the decision. Yeah, so Rebecca Vincent still isn't in court. She is live outside, though, which is super disappointing.
We'll play it.
Of international campaigns for Reporters Without Borders
Does that sound
outside
okay,
the
Josh?
Westminster Magistrates Court. The bail hearing is ongoing in the case of Julian Assange. We were meant to have access today. I was put on Assange's family's list today, so should have gotten in with no problems, but I wasn't allowed in. There's not really been an explanation given, and 2 of Mr. Assange's actual relatives have also not been allowed in. So once again, another barrier. Nothing has been normal about this case all along. Normally we access these proceedings by queuing very early for the public gallery, but today again I should have been allowed in on this list. So what could happen this morning is various scenarios. We are waiting to see whether the judge will release him on bail or whether she will keep him detained throughout the appeals process. We feel that it would be extremely harsh for him to keep him detained given the severe mental health issues that she outlined on Monday. If those are grounds for extradition, or if those are grounds to prevent extradition, rather, they are also grounds for his release. So we have called for his immediate release all along, and now the court has an opportunity to do that today. So the decision on Monday was a relief. We reacted to it with relief because, of course, Mr. Assange should not be extradited to the US. But we were really concerned with the substance of the decision, which leaves the door open for further persecutions of journalists, publishers, or sources on similar grounds. The underpinning issues here really have to be addressed before this is allowed to happen to anybody else. So we'll be back with a comment after we find out what happens here. I've been asked several times for my inclination. I would say honestly 50-50. Again, it would be very harsh for the judge to keep him detained, but there's police now starting to try to move people along. They've been more relaxed this morning than they were on Monday. This is London Met Police today, not City of London. The other day, the aggression was from City of London Police. So far, it's been okay, but they're starting to request that people move on. So in any case, in terms of the prospects, anything could happen. This judge has at times been very harsh. Okay,
They just put their fucking hand in front of Rebecca Vincent's feed. Some fucking B-roll beat cop just put his fucking hand in Rebecca Vincent's face.
I wish she'd bite off his fucking finger.
All part of the process here. So,
Literally just to get her to move to the behind the press pool.
Okay, so I'm gonna need that microphone now. That's like straight up, dude. Straight up. Straight up. One more time, Glory. Say it one more time so the whole chat can hear it.
Cunt or fuck 12?
Either, but I mean, let's go with fuck 12. Look, we've talked pretty extensively about our thoughts about COVID here on Slow News Day. It's not the look. I believe that there is a virus out there that they have called COVID-19. I don't think that that's a hoax. I think that what it is cover for. Oh, fucking ring light.
The ring light. That's literally the cop's fucking hand in that woman's face.
Yeah.
That woman has oversaw fucking trials in Turkey where Erdogan, a fucking dictator, right, allowed Reporters Without Borders into the courtroom, right? In London, in the modern fucking world, that is not allowed to happen, right? She's not allowed in that courtroom.
Okay, hold on, I gotta.
I swear, if RSF doesn't drop their press freedom index or whatever, I'm gonna.
Yeah, no.
Well, this is why when we had Jamie from Reporters Without Borders on the other morning, Monday morning, this is why I was specifically asking him about that. And hey, what's up with Reporters Without Borders not downgrading these countries further, and trying to get a feel for that. And I got a very political answer out of him, and I wasn't necessarily satisfied with it.
We got some new stuff from Kevin.
Colin O'Malley, Slow News Day, I know you're tired as balls, but is there better than 50-50 odds kind of take that was just given a bail being granted? In a normal situation, Colin.
We wouldn't even be here today.
Well, yeah, there's that. But in a normal situation, if this was anyone other than Julian Assange, they would absolutely 100% of the time grant bail, if not dismiss outright. Just now, our buddy Kevin Gostola, Fitzgerald believes the scale of COVID in Belmarsh is being underrepresented and tells the judge at very least the pandemic is not any better than it was in March 2020. Fitzgerald refers to the Laurie Love case, of which he was involved, and the precedent that set, which allowed for Laurie to be released on bail during the appeal because the court had considered U.S. prison conditions would make his mental health worse. So really, okay, so this is I want to kind of okay, one more from Kevin and then I'll Fitzgerald proposes conditions for home confinement with partner Stella Morris and his 2 children. Assange wishes to live a sheltered life with his family at the address provided to the court. It's interesting to me that we all thought, a lot of us thought or talked about and discussed the idea and potential reality that this case should be, all the different reasons that this case should be dismissed and thrown out, and the many precedents that have already been set over the last 50 some years of press freedom case law, as to why Julian's case should be thrown out. And Daniel Ellsberg and the Pentagon Papers have been talked about extensively. But Laurie Love and the fact that, like, Laurie Love's case was unique in that it was the first time really. I have to get up and get ready to go to work now. Sorry, guys. I gotta go. Fuck, it's 6 o'clock already. Jesus Christ. I wanted to get a nap in before we went to the Stop the Steal stuff. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
No, this starts at 7.
You're fucking insane, dude. Like, I'll Uber over at 10. I know. Fuck, dude. I don't even remember what I was. Oh, yeah. At least in terms of halting this extradition, it's only because Laurie Love's case set some genuine legal precedent for somewhat humane treatment of people who have Asperger's or are on the autism spectrum or are dealing with mental health issues. So, fuck, man. Like, I wish I wish that some more reality had been thrown into the legal aspects of this decision. I mean, I understand why they weren't, it's an imperial power trying to impose authoritarian control over the press internationally. Something that totalitarian regimes always do. And it's something that our particular totalitarian regime has been looking to do for a long, long time. The problem with marketing yourself as the beacon of freedom, hope, and democracy for the world is that your own citizens expect that propaganda to work when it comes to the court system. So it comes down to, is it worth maintaining the illusion that these are free countries, that these are democratic countries? Can they get away with more by maintaining that illusion, or can they get away with more by taking the mask completely off and going, okay, fuck it, we are those guys, we're going to lock everything, including the press, down, and we're going to use this guy's fucking head to do it? For the longest time, at least, it's been more convenient, and this empire has been able to get away with more by maintaining the illusion. I got 45 minutes of sleep, Euro Pop Mart. Not really. My alarm was set for 3 this morning. I set it at about 3:15. Probably went to sleep another 15 or so minutes later. I remember the alarm going off. I don't remember falling back out. I remember responding immediately when Andrew knocked on the door. Okay. Eric Collins, thank you very much for the super chat. If Assange is freed, you guys will go down in history as freedom fighters and will be held in high regard. Your work is not going unnoticed. I really appreciate that, man, but that's so fucking not necessary.
That's not, yeah.
That's so fucking not necessary. Like, look,
We are one of thousands of people globally. We just happen to be the idiots that'll get on a YouTube stream and risk personal attack by intelligence communities. Like we should go down as being the dumbasses willing to do this.
Okay, look, if that's gonna be the case, then we should be precedent-setting dumbasses, because nobody else was doing this early morning coverage shit until we started doing it. That's why we started doing it, because fucking nobody else was doing it. But now there's other shows that are doing exactly what we started, which is fucking awesome, dude. Big shout out to Anonymous Bites Back for being live right now again, like you guys were on Monday during the what the fuck, the hearing. Jesus,
Whatever,
doing great.
Whatever those things are called.
What do we do? Oh my god, Joy, why are you awake? Hello, Joy Wilder. But yeah, I mean, we're we'll catch up on sleep eventually. We will. I fly back tomorrow, Liam. I'm still in DC another day and night. We're gonna go to a Stop the Steal event here shortly.
And then read some Gastolo tweets.
Yeah, sure.
It's just picking up where
The good Kevin. Fitzgerald says Assange would wear a GPS monitor and tag, and any movement would be detected in real time. Multiple times, Fitzgerald makes it clear that Assange has not had physical contact with his family since March of 2020. This would alleviate mental distress and anchor him during appeal. Look, this shit is so...
it's heinous.
Yeah, You just spent years torturing the guy. Oh, and look, by the way, let me say this first, man. Let me say this first. Because we are staying in DC for like what really amounts to an extra 3 days. You guys, it was fucking so hard to get a different Airbnb. So hard because of this Trump rally. DC is like shut everything down. Hotels stopped taking reservations and bookings. Restaurants have closed entirely. Fucking it's a, so what I want to say and what I never say and what I hate that I have to fucking say is that I so far like all of the extra shit is come out of my pocket and not action for Assange. So if anyone is feeling generous, please go to the GoFundMe and throw a couple of bucks at it and help us kind of, cover the cost of being out here and making sure that we could live stream the extradition hearing, live stream this bail hearing, and going get some footage and give some coverage for the Stop the Steal event, because we are going to flip as many of those individual rallies as we can into free Julian Assange events,
until he's free,
pardon Julian Assange events, whatever the fuck we can do. And look, I think a pardon is the literal least that the United States could give him, that the Trump administration could give him. The literal least. What he needs is the charges dropped and the case dismissed with extreme prejudice, with no fucking wiggle room for a new one to be reopened. He needs to be exonerated of any and all past, present, and future crimes. He needs some fucking compensation for the decade of arbitrary legal detention and torture. And he needs like a full-time fucking security detail. Am I going back up to the 8 minutes ago?
You don't have to. That's what we're talking about though.
Okay. No. Okay. Mary Kostakidis. Going back to the bail thing and the house arrest thing. A home has been. This is the address they provided to the court. Home has been offered up. And the person with the home is offering the British court a $10,000 surety that he'll show up for an appeal hearing up front. Adds that a significant number of responsible people are also offering surety. Fitzgerald argues, how could the court deny him his liberty to reduce the risk of COVID by not being in the close community of a prison? Asking for a short break to get instructions on matters prosecution raised, including Mexican asylum offer. This was to come to fruition after the conclusion of proceedings. The judge says that doesn't make sense. Replies that he may remain safe in this jurisdiction, but not elsewhere. Mary's note to that is, why is it not safe for him to come home to Australia? Well, Mary, I will answer that question for you right now. It's because if you did a legitimate survey of which state in the U.S. was the absolute worst, every single time it would come up Australia. That's why. That's why.
You're talking about shipping rates?
What we got going on here? Yeah, Glory, 10-minute break.
Courts and break. Oh man. Got a break. I like to smoke a cigarette real fast. You care?
LA addicts. I've never understood why him. Why did they let the other guy walk free and not Assange? Really awkward question. Do you think Epstein is alive? So here's what I think. And I don't, you don't have to agree with me. That's the fucking beauty of all of this. I think that Epstein was removed from the Manhattan Correctional Center I think when he was removed, he was taken to a Mossad safe house where he was tied to a fucking chair and kept alive long enough until the Mossad could get all of the compromising material he had collected over the years and find out what where all of his money was stashed, because he had shell companies within shell companies within shell companies within shell companies where he had properties, different investments and shit like that. So I think that he got twice, and you don't get to get caught twice. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get the removed from prison and given an island treatment or given a new face, or that's not getting caught twice. No, especially not when you had to rat the first time you got caught in order to avoid prosecution for the thing that you actually did. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the sweetheart deal that Epstein got in 2008 from Alex Acosta and the people above him, it was because he went and gave information on some of the financial institutions that were responsible for the 2007, 2008, 2009 crash. So by ratting out on financial institutions that needed to become public targets of some sort of integrity investigation, Epstein was able to go on being the face in the front of this child sex trafficking network internationally. So, Liam, just because Trump isn't going to pardon Julian, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't go to these Stop the Steal events today and talk to everyone on the ground about it. Because what a puppet president does, ultimately, at least to us in this case, is far less important than our ability to get out onto the street, communicate with people, talk to them about what's really going on, and get them to understand that they're walking around about half right. Okay, like we've never said, nor will we ever think or say that like we believe that Donald Trump is going to do the right thing, or any president is going to do the right thing, be based solely on the fact that it's the right thing to do. That's never gonna fucking happen. That's not where we're coming from. But if you can give us their base and their audience to talk to, then we can talk to them about the nature of systems. We can talk to them about the ridiculousness of putting your faith or your spiritual energy into a political party, especially one in the United States. And that's where the work gets done. The work gets done talking to the people on the ground. If what we're doing has a ripple effect, and it has, and we get to witness it in real time, then that makes it worth it. It's much less about Donald Trump pardoning Assange than it is getting tens of thousands of people in front of the White House to chant, "Pardon Julian Assange." Because they're going to walk away from that wanting to go know more about it and wanting to research more about it. And that's the fucking point.
Amen.
I am going to try and get a couple more hours of sleep. I don't know, dude. Maybe not.
Is superseding one word?
Yeah, but I got to go.
So Mary Kostakidis put a tweet out, just clarifying a question someone in her comment section had, I think. The Mexican asylum offer, or the Mexican offer, refers to the recent offer of asylum. This is the result of reality dawning on everyone that just because the British courts may refuse extradition, that does not prevent the U.S. from attempting it all over again in another jurisdiction. I would even add to that with another set of charges. Because if you look at the way, this is something we've been kind of talking about intimately here behind the scenes. If you look at the way that the superseding indictments have escalated throughout this, it actually shows that they're like adding a couple months to the timeline with each superseding indictment, where it started out in the 2010 era with the Chelsea Manning releases, Cablegate, and focusing primarily on that. But the new superseding indictment that came out before the September court trial actually introduced the Iceland era, where I can never remember their names because I fucking hate these people. Sigar, who were the dudes that stole, the guy that stole money from WikiLeaks in Iceland? Who was that guy?
Yeah,
Siggy.
and Daryl Domscheit-Berg.
Yeah.
Daniel Domscheit-Berg.
And who was, so it's Siggy and who was Sabu? Siggy, yeah.
Sabu was the
No, I know.
informant.
I know. I'm talking about how the superseding indictments have escalated each time, adding additional context to the essentially the story of WikiLeaks, where it starts in the Chelsea Manning era, and then the newest superseding indictment that came out in September includes the Sabu and Siggy era, as well as Sarah Harrison's assistance in getting Edward Snowden out of Moscow.
So Sigurd Thordarson, who's I think like witness 1 or witness 2 in the superseding indictment. In addition to being an embezzling thief and a data thief, he's also a certified sociopath and a convicted pedophile, and a paid FBI informant. We've been speculating for damn near a year now that the reason they closed down the WikiLeaks grand jury and released Chelsea Manning and had to release Jeremy Hammond is because they had gotten all they needed out of Sabu and Siggy for the next this next indictment. But the simple fact that the U.S. Attorney General is relying on 2 paid FBI informants, both of them with extensive criminal records, and then you add one of them is a pedophile and a certified sociopath. It doesn't make for the strongest case. What we got here? The Australian government does not guarantee not to extradite him to the United States. So yeah, there's that, Mary. You answered your own question. Good job. Ed Fitzgerald going to the Ecuadorian embassy led to him being confined for years, and then following the change of government, he was ejected. It's not an experience he is interested in repeating. And the Mexican offer has been misquoted. The president has asked the foreign minister to explore through proper channels with the UK government to possibly offer asylum at the conclusion of legal proceedings. Which again, I mean, that's what we said. You know, we said that on this live stream earlier, that it wasn't AMLO saying you have asylum. It was AMLO saying we would like to eventually offer you asylum.
So there's, and this is just all people's opinions, so I'm not saying anybody's wrong, but I just want to talk about it because we are still on kind of a little bit of downtime here. There's a lot of circulation of an article from NPR. Will the Biden DOJ pursue Assange's extradition? Yes, absolutely, 100% they would. Joe Biden is not a functioning cognitive human being. He did not deftly win a presidential election. He is, in my opinion, Joe Guaido, if you know who Juan Guaido is from the failed Venezuelan coups that happened. Well, I guess the coups that didn't happen would be a better way to refer to that. But Joe Biden is literally on the record saying Julian Assange is a high-tech terrorist just days before Mitch McConnell says it. He's there. He takes talking points from the National Intelligence State. He takes talking points from the deep state, which is what most people refer to it as now. So no, he's not even going to make any decisions. He doesn't even get to pick what he eats for breakfast anymore. The man is in such terrible states of cognitive decline that it's literally not possible for him to do that. But the people that surround him that would be moving his hand to sign pieces of paper, they would pursue Julian because those are the fucking bastards that he has exposed.
Hey, I'd just like to apologize again and in advance for not getting to the fucking 9 billion messages that I have on Discord and the 9 billion messages I have on Twitter and a bunch of emails and stuff like that. It's been a pretty busy week. I'll try to catch up with some of this tomorrow when I'm traveling.
Medhurst has really good spots on Fitzgerald when they got back in the court a few moments ago.
Okay.
If you want to,
Sure.
we'll just have to keep scrolling. There's 400.
Yeah, okay. So, misquoted offer from it. Defense makes the case that Assange is best protected in the UK's jurisdiction, thus no reason to abscond, where he has the protection of the rule of law, especially since she ruled in his favor. Even if she hadn't, he would have had the protections of the High Court, the Supreme Court, etc. Defense highlights eroding situation of no social visits since last year due to COVID, and this is likely to continue given the government lockdown. If Assange remains there, he will remain in lockdown, no social visits, he will remain at risk of COVID. Even people suspected of terrorism are given bail or house arrest while on appeal, while waiting for appeal. Absolutely, 100%. And I would imagine, or at least I hope, that Julian's legal team... Okay, Baraitser's giving her oral history on the Assange case. We're gonna wait a few moments on that so that we can get the whole shit show. Oh, fuck, I don't even remember what I was saying.
Okay. So this is Kevin Gostola as of 16 minutes ago. I just think it's important to highlight this was just before we went on break. Court went on break. Question by Judge Fitzgerald mentions McKinnon and Love cases. He says that they remain safe in the UK, but if they set foot anywhere else, the US could pursue them. In that sense, Mexico's offer would be another country where Assange could be protected from the US after a failed extradition. And again, that offer was not put on the table. It is in discussions to be put on the table, potentially the end of the court trial. So the fact that the U.S. is bringing it up is just another lie. Like, it is not a solid thing yet in the way that they are speaking. On the matter of going to another country's embassy, Fitzgerald says it was extremely unpleasant and led to being confined for some years, and a change of government that led to a loss of asylum. Assange is not likely to repeat this. Fitzgerald refers to the community notice from Belmarsh dated January 1. Social visits are suspended. If he remains, he will be on lockdown and will not be able to visit his family. Fitzgerald says the court will be aware that even people suspected of terrorism can be put on house arrest with the system of monitoring with tags. Of course, this case is many, many miles from that. Right, because Julian is a publisher. Baraitser is going through a lengthy legal history beginning in 2010, including when he was granted bail. Extradition order was upheld, and then he entered the Ecuadorian embassy. So Twitter just said this tweet was super dangerous. So I want to read this super dangerous tweet. I pray God moves his mighty hand of justice and frees Julian. That was so dangerous they had to put that behind a wall. Just throwing that out there for everybody. We are still waiting on hearing the exact words of the judge. So I'm scrolling through because I'm very interested to see what she has to say. Sorry, I read really slow. Mary says, the U.S. has this is the judge speaking. The U.S. has already lodged their appeal. The outcome of the appeal is not yet known. Julian Assange still has reason to abscond. If he absconds, they will lose the opportunity to appeal. He has let down people who put up surety in the past. Belmarsh bears no comparison to U.S. prisons. That is a lie. That is the Guantanamo Bay of the United Kingdom. He helped Snowden abscond. Snowden wasn't charged with anything, I don't think, while he was absconding, and he wasn't even in the jurisdiction. He was in Hong Kong, so that is the judge being factually inaccurate. Bail denied.
Oh, wow.
Bail denied.
How the fuck?
UK judge orders the release of Julian Assange and then denies the bail in her own order. I'm looking for confirmation. That was from Mary Kostakidis, but I'm scrolling through.
Yeah.
Breaking: Julian Assange's bail request is denied.
The fuck?
I mean,
So
are we
we're-
surprised? Not really.
No.
It's crazy. So we're going to go through that document that the judge released, her rulings and all of this, to actually show you where she says she orders the release based on section 91.3, which is the part that refers to the medical detention. So she literally said, like, no, he needs to go free. And then was like, but I'm not doing it. This is actually up right now.
All right. Well, shit.
I mean, we'll hang out for a minute to see what else comes up,
Yeah.
because there's still going to be more.
What the fuck?
I mean, like I said before the show, like they're not going to fast track this shit now. So like, he's
Oh,
gonna
they're
be in there
definitely not
forever.
going to fast track it since extradition was ruled against. They're going to try and keep him on the COVID wing of Belmarsh until he contracts it or something else.
Matt Hurst will have her words up in a second. He said Twitter started lagging super bad.
Yeah, fancy that.
Right.
Grr. Man, I was just trying to set up a coordinated stream with the Anonymous Bites Back crew.
Oh,
too.
hit up Loopers.
I did. He doesn't know. He's not sure how we can do that. So I was getting ready to ask you, but if bail's denied, I don't know how much longer we're staying on. So if you want to jump into the ABB Discord and tell them what they need to do, then sure, we'll kick it for another few.
Oh,
and
to get in here, I don't think we can link the two. Not with Jitsi.
Okay. Well, then but never mind anyway.
Yeah, it'd be a pain in the ass.
So this is over from Kevin Gastolo. We'll pop back and read Richard Medhurst in just a second. Concierge to the State Department, Vanessa Breitzer said Assange has huge support networks. He should again choose. Should he again choose to go to ground? She added.
Fuck you.
She added that WikiLeaks arranged to assist Snowden's flight to Russia. Yet again, when it comes to Snowden, it is an example of the judge fully adopting the U.S. government's narrative of events. It was the State Department that revoked Snowden's passport and helped stick him in Russia.
No
He was not traveling there. So this, again, so yeah, one of our co-hosts literally just sent a message that says, "Fuck me, are you fucking serious?" Yeah. I mean, there's going to be 100 to 2 million Trump supporters in town, and we have enough megaphones that every single one of them will know that bail was denied today. I can promise you that. There will not be an emotionally charged Trump supporter that doesn't know that the UK Justice Department just refused Julian Assange bail. I spent 5 hours screaming and wandering around the Stop the Steal event yesterday. With much applause, my megaphone, literally, I'm not going to turn it on because it's fucking 7 o'clock in the morning.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, literally just, it says, "Pardon Julian Assange," and it's set on repeat. And I was standing there looking at Mark Burns, right, Trump's pastor that did the fucking propagandized head fake about releasing Julian. And I got the crowd while he was speaking to chant, "Pardon Julian Assange," right? Mark Burns wasn't even supposed to go up there to speak. They had already concluded the event, but because I had gotten the crowd whipped into a "Pardon Assange" frenzy, they put Burns up there. Burns was done speaking. I was not. Burns gets off stage. The crowd starts chanting, "Pardon Julian Assange" again, right? They send a dude dressed up as Uncle Sam to come and give some like half prose, half song thing about election integrity, which is important, right? The First Amendment's more important because without it, you have a media that's not willing to expose corruption. You have a media that's not even willing to listen to a full hour-long phone call.
Right? It's not even an hour-long phone call, man. So look, because of who Project Veritas is, and because of the blatantly agenda-driven, politically charged angle that Project Veritas attacks everything, they're fucking totally discredited even when they put out a fucking totally legitimate clip. Kevin Gastolo just now, this is absolutely outrageous for the judge to deny Assange bail and to claim that Belmarsh is doing a fine job of handling COVID even while London is on lockdown. Judge proves yet again how captive she is to the UK agency interests, which tend to show subservience to the US government. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what this. Look, man, since February of last year, we've been referring to Breitzer as the concierge to the U.S. State Department, and she fucking delivered today. She did. She wholeheartedly lived up to that nickname. Really, the most surprising thing about all of this is that they actually denied the extradition. Dingo, can Assange's legal team appeal to a higher court for bail? Not until they're in front of a higher court for the appeal. Which, again, Andrew pointed out, will probably take longer now that that extradition has been denied, but bail has also been denied. So they can set an initial appeal hearing for 2 years out at this point. I'm sure there's some shouting going on outside of the court. You know what? I'll try and get a hold of Allie real quick.
Try to get a hold of Ali real quick. I'm scrolling through just to see what else everyone else is putting out.
I'm gonna try to get a hold of Lubers, see if I can work this out.
Okay. He might even be able to bridge whatever they do on
I
their side
can.
into ours.
I mean, I could go.
You may be able to do it through the browser for Discord. Would that work?
No, the problem is because my mic and shit's all taken up already, so it's.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'd have to have a separate computer set up.
So Rebecca Vincent, 1 minute ago, I got in for the last 10 minutes of the hearing as someone stepped out to give me their place. A student who had queued up since 3 a.m. Thank you. I appreciate that person. The judge ruled that Assange must remain in custody at Belmarsh Prison. In our view, an unnecessarily cruel decision. Assange should not spend another moment unjustly deprived of his liberty. This is, so I've been tweeting it out, but this is an abortion of justice, right? We have, for the last 400 years of human history, right, had norms. This court case, you are seeing all of that stripped away. The prosecution isn't supposed to be there to force a guilty verdict. They are supposed to be there to present evidence, right? That is not what this prosecution did. This prosecution read word for word what the U.S. government said and nothing else. They got every timeline they tried to present wrong, dreadfully so, to the point, right, that they didn't even know that Luke Harding and David Lee's book, right, came first, right? Cryptome puts things online. Luke Harding, David Lee's book comes out, and then WikiLeaks releases days later, after the password, or a time later. I'm not sure, but just that, right? On top of everything, on top of the procedural violations with the resubmission of the superseding indictments, on top of the fact that he shouldn't even fucking be prosecuted in the first place, right?
Hey Josh, see if you can find Joe Brock's live feed or Rupley. Liam Bobrick in the chat is saying they're arresting protesters and
I'll see if I'll try to go find Rupley.
No, Gordon's out front.
Is he live
I
streaming?
think. I don't know where he is. He was on Monday.
So this is Rebecca Vincent's thread. The judge stated that Assange has incentive to abscond and was likely to present himself for justice. Was unlikely to present himself for justice if released on bail. One, this isn't fucking justice, Vanessa Baratzer. This is the opposite of justice. This is an abortion of every legal process and protection that people have had and died for 400 plus years.
I'm not seeing any live streams.
I just texted him. I'm waiting for.
Right. She also states that his mental health is being managed in Belmarsh and that the prison has the COVID situation. They don't have fucking heat.
If you scream in my ear, I'm gonna fly to DC and strangle you.
He does not have heat in the wing of his prison. He's using books to insulate his window. Tell me that that's managing a coronavirus outbreak. That doesn't even fucking make sense. Literally, Google it right now. If you are sitting behind a keyboard, there is an LED light that you can put in a fucking vent. Like, I work at a heating and air conditioning company. There's a little tiny fucking like $30 light that they'll probably pay $900+ for to fund some Black Ops program that you can put in to a duct that kills airborne viruses, bacteria, whatever. It's literally the same process that they use at water treatment facilities to clean water with UV light exposure. It's a little light you put into the ductwork. But they turn the heat off instead. In what other world, under what other circumstance can a prison turn a heat off in the middle of winter and not provide winter clothing for that person? And why is it, right, in this era of coronavirus that human rights don't matter anymore? Right? Where the fuck did that go? Like, I know that that's been gone. You know, like Obama fucking brought slavery back to Libya in the name of human rights. Like, we get that. But the basic having heat in a prison, like, turn the heat on. This is I don't even know. I'm just babbling at this point, but.
They're straight up harassing Eric.
Are they?
Yeah, I got it somewhere else, but Gordon's like standing 6 feet away from where the press conference is about to take place. He's gonna be filming that, but he's not live streaming today. Otherwise, he would be in this call right now. But he's literally surrounded by fucking loud ass people getting ready to. Yeah, here's the Rupley feed of them harassing Eric.
Man, Misty's gonna be mad.
No. Just turn the volume up.
Misty gonna fly to London. Watch.
Yeah.
They are seriously dragging Eric down. Not dragging, but a cop on either side. Not social distancing. Not social distancing. Coronavirus.
Dude,
the entire city's on level 4.
Dude, your voice is literally about to die.
With an 80-year-old activist, 92-year-old activist that they're dragging down the street.
92 years young.
Hey, give Steve the mic for a few and go get something to drink. Your voice is dying.
I've had laryngitis for like 4 days.
He doesn't have laryngitis. What he does is he doesn't know how to use a megaphone or a microphone, even though we've been talking about it for a year and a half. And so instead of being like merely loud with a megaphone, he will scream his full head off into it for like days if you let him. So his own inability to listen and his own lack of preparation, because the dude doesn't know how to walk into a store and buy some fucking honey that he can put into some water that he warms up. Those things, combined with his complete unwillingness to take care of himself, have all just given each other sort of a special hug. And what came out of that was the inability to communicate without sounding like a fucking deranged frog.
I can still yell though.
And then my friend said to me, Helen. Steve knows what I'm talking about.
Oh my god.
So I got some stuff here from Rebecca. That's it. So Rebecca said this was the first time I've had direct sight of Julian since February. As at the Old Bailey, I could only access the overflow for the live stream. He looked better than he did at Woolwich Crown Court, was alert and following the proceedings. I don't think I was capable of disappointment in this case, but apparently I still am. The court cannot undo the past 10 years of hell Assange has endured, but the judge could have made it right going forward. She failed again. Unnecessary cruelty. And I would add to that an utter abortion of justice.
I keep falling back on what Pilger said, that it wasn't due process, it was due revenge. God, it's fucking 6:45. Are you really?
I'm gonna. I have to. They just rule.
You don't.
Alex Jones and InfoWars aren't gonna fucking tell people these things. Like,
okay, but Alex Jones isn't gonna be there until 10:30 or 11 o'clock.
That's fine. That's fine. But people will be there.
You want to make sure that you know that.
No, I know.
That
And he's not even going to want to show up because he's going to be like, "That's a free Assange rally. Like, we don't even know what happened. Like, we don't even know what happened in the election."
Hey, it says they're arresting Eric.
Yeah.
I wonder if Misty's got her plane ticket yet.
Can you pull up Rupley's feed?
Hold on here.
I think
Josh?
I think they can kill our video for doing it.
So this is from Richard Medhurst, the words of Vanessa Baratzer. Vanessa Baratzer gave the following reasons in denying Julian bail. She started out by going through a timeline of events from 2010 and onward about him being
Oh, they got Jill
given
too.
bail and then seeking asylum in the Ecuadorian embassy. This is a quote from Baratzer. "On Monday, I ruled in Assange's favor. In a matter of fairness, the U.S. must be allowed to challenge my decision." That's not how courts work.
Here, I'm gonna add a little video in the
Those who
corner.
put a large amount of money to guarantee his return to the court ended up losing all their money. That's not the court's problem. The conditions in the prison bear no comparison to his conditions if extradited to the U.S. He didn't get to meet with his lawyers for 6 months between February
Wait, hold
and
up.
September.
That's fucking bullshit, because during the September hearing, the prosecution's argument was we have to extradite him because US prisons are a fucking country club compared to the shithole that he's in right now in Belmarsh. That was their argument 3 months ago. I'm sorry. Here, go back.
No, you're fine.
There.
She refers to him aiding Snowden. She accepts the latest COVID figures in Belmarsh provided by the prosecution. 3 prisoners tested positive. She deems Belmarsh to be managing COVID properly. In light of all of this, Judge Vanessa Baratzer denies Julian Assange's request for bail. He is taken out of the dock and will be sent back to Belmarsh prison, pending appeal by U.S. regarding Monday's decision. We're not going anywhere. I would
Hey,
just
I'm
like
gonna-
everybody
Should we
to be aware.
Should we turn on
Like-
the sound?
Should we what?
Turn on the sound for this? God, what is this?
I would. The sound's probably heinous.
Probably. Yeah, they're arresting people.
Like it may be worth it, but
No, I can't get it out of theater mode anyway. I don't know what the fuck its deal is. That's driving me crazy. There we go.
so yeah. You getting it, Josh?
Yep, he's got it.
I mean, the video's been up, but
Oh, I didn't know the
we're not
video's
going to
up.
get shit from the sound anyway.
What's up there?
They arrested Eric. Confirmation from Gordon Dimmick.
Yep.
Can you send him the link?
God damn it.
That document
Man, I want to
literally
fucking kick something.
right.
I'm gonna have to go outside later with a big stick, I think.
I'm gonna go outside with a big megaphone.
Steve, bring me that shillelagh thing, whatever the fuck it's called.
Shillelagh. Yeah, no, you got it. You got it. Shillelagh.
So
It's an Irish word for big fucking stick.
I'm going to read this from Mary Kostakidis' point of view. The U.S. has already lodged their appeal. The outcome of the appeal is not yet known. Julian Assange still has reasons to abscond. This is according to the judge. If he absconds, they will lose the opportunity to appeal. He did not abscond the first time he sought asylum. It is a distinctly different thing, even if the UK government refuses to recognize that the nation of Ecuador illegally removed his citizenship after receiving a $4.2 billion international monetary loan fund. International Monetary Fund loan.
I think Stella's about to talk. Hold
on. He helped Snowden abscond.
Oh, we can go to Gordon. We can stream Gordon's feed.
Is he on now?
He said. Well, he said the video of them arresting Eric is on his Twitter, but oh no, because he's just uploading. Yeah, sorry, no, he's not live streaming this. He's
All right, I'm trying to
recording
get sound here. Hold on.
So they said Gareth spent the hearing
Hey,
sitting
quiet a
outside
second.
the
Consider
glass.
her ruling
Sorry.
2 days ago about Julian's health, which of course is caused in large part because he is being held in Belmarsh prison. To send him back there doesn't make any sense from any perspective. It's inhumane and it's illogical. This denial of bail will, in most likelihood, will be appealed to the High Court within hours or a few days, and we will expect this to be overturned because, frankly, as I say, it doesn't make any sense from any point of view. I want to draw your attention as well to the fact that the United States has already indicated that they are seeing a defeat in this pursuit, this unjust persecution. Let me draw your attention to a statement by the very man who signed the first indictment in the Eastern District of Virginia, a man who is about to leave office. He was appointed by Trump. He stated that he was totally unsure that the case against Julian Assange would be continued under the new administration. He said, well,
I know, but I mean,
we spent a lot of resources on that.
she's not even trying with the fucking.
Maybe the new
fake name.
administration incoming will simply decide to drop the case. That's an extraordinary statement. It's an indication that they are, in essence, accepting this has gone way too far and it's about time to let it go. So the fight will continue. The fight for Julian, we want him out. If the opposition will appeal, that will be met. We still want the President of the United States, both the one soon leaving office and the one coming in, to consider pardon. We want this to end, but we are confident that justice will prevail.
This is a huge disappointment. Julian should not be in Belmarsh prison in the first place. I urge the Department of Justice to drop the charges, and the President of the United States...
Hey, mute a second so I can boost her audio.
Thank you.
That was it.
Reporters Without Borders condemns this decision taken today, which we view as unnecessarily cruel. This court can't undo the past 10 years of hell that Julian Assange has had to endure, but they could have made it right going forward. We fully believe that Julian Assange was targeted for his contributions to journalism. The past 10 years, he has suffered only because of publishing information in the public interest. He shouldn't have to spend another moment unjustly deprived of his liberty. We reiterate our concerns about his mental health and his physical health the longer he has to stay in Belmarsh prison as well. If anything happens to him in this period of custody, it is a legal and moral responsibility of the UK government. We call again for his immediate release and for this case to be dropped. We call on the US government not to pursue the appeal. Enough is enough. It has been 10 years. Let this man go and leave him in peace.
All right, I think they're done.
All right.
So I'm gonna go to the Stop the Steal event.
I mean, I am too.
Probably gonna die of exposure at some point or starvation, but it's probably worth it.
Exposure.
But yeah, so we're going to the Stop the Steal event, and we're going to inform literally everyone there about the fact that this has happened today. I mean, drop the charges with extreme prejudice, pardon Julian Assange preemptively for anything the U.S. Department of Justice, or at this point, because there's international jurisdiction, any other country tries to do. Not that you can pardon for other countries. That was facetious.
Right. Yeah.
But drop the charges with extreme prejudice, preemptively pardon for everything from the day he walks out of prison back. That's literally the only way to make sure that this cannot happen again, that it does not escalate to this point. And it's still fucking escalating. Like it's not even over yet, which I mean, we've been telling everybody that this fight is continuing. Historically, what happens, right? This has been happening to Julian for a decade. News will happen that, let's say, turns the heat up in the pot. But there's so many people with thermometers that as soon as that heat gets turned up, they start splashing the water back in the cook's face. So they turn the heat back down. And then they crank it up again. And then they turn it down. Then they crank it up. And then they turn it down. And what they hope for is that people will become disenfranchised or disheartened or just give up. We're not going to give up. You guys aren't going to give up. We're going to just keep growing and getting stronger. This is our basic right to have a open and not fake media, having the ability to expose corruption, having the ability to release classified documents that shouldn't have been classified. Like this is basic stuff. Like this is basic stuff that people have died for 400 years now defending, right? Like we have this national history of like, you can say what you want and you can do whatever in the press, but like, where is that? Like, where is that now? Especially with a president that is fucking trying to pretend like, or be perceived as the defender of truth, justice, and nobility in the world. Where is he? Where has he been on this for, I don't know, the last 4 years that he was in office? The man runs on, I love the WikiLeaks, read the WikiLeaks, release her emails, Vault 7, right? The Podesta emails, fucking Hillary Clinton's emails in 2017. Like, where is he?
He'll be speaking at the Stop the Steal event today at some point. Apparently, the selfie sticks have been banned from the Stop the Steal rally because Donald Trump is going to speak at it. There are a number of items that we cannot bring in as press, by the way. And the selfie stick is one of them because apparently, I mean, I guess you could turn one into a zip gun pretty fucking easy. We showed you how last night, actually. Yo, dude, this is insane. By insane, I do mean expected, but
Fucking insane.
because we, live in a fucking cartoon. We love you guys. We'll check in with you throughout the day. Lux Tuttle, I don't know if we're gonna live stream from Stop the Steal because
We
Sleepy
will.
Josh, our tech ninja, is 3 hours behind us and needs to go to sleep. So do we, but but I think, I don't know, depending on the reception, we can probably get we can probably go live directly to YouTube from a phone.
We'll be with Combo Couch and Burma.
And we'll be with Combo Couch, and we'll be with Jason Burmis. Yes, Watchmen gimbals are allowed, but they fucking suck. I can't stand gimbals. All right, folks. That's gonna do it for now. Once again, just to recap, even though in the decision ruling against the extradition, Baratzer wrote that Julian needed to be, what was the phraseology? Dismissed? No.
I'm pulling it up.
At any rate, Baratzer said that he needed to be released. She went against her own ruling in denying bail.
And the defense even cited her ruling.
Yeah.
in their application for bail.
And on top of that, the excuse is he'll be just fine in COVID infested Belmarsh because it is more hospitable than US prisons, even though during the witness testimony, their argument was US prisons are a paradise compared to the shithole that Belmarsh is. So once again, up is down, day is night. Nothing makes fucking sense. We love you guys. We're gonna go yell at tens of thousands of angry Trump supporters who are here because their government has failed them, and the election system in this country is a fucking joke. They don't have the agency that they thought they had, and they're here trying to exercise what little agency they may have left. So we're going to capitalize on that energy and go raise some hell. We'll see you soon. Good luck to us all.